I'm the smartest mother I know. Okay, what's going on, y'all? Let's get this party started. Today, brothers and sisters, we want to break down Agenda 25. Again, we already started. It officially starts on July the 15th. Today, we're talking about my new 2025, not only class, but also investment opportunity. Because now you guys know they've already drained the swamp. If you don't know, now you know. So now, if you're not up to speed with what they call the Chevron doctrine. So I just got off the phone with the bank. Just got off the phone with a childhood friend of mine, actually my first girlfriend. I was 14, who's a multi-millionaire. She's been a multi-millionaire. I don't know if you guys remember Sister Veronica Smith. She was a part of the group way back in the day. Actually, I forgot how many homes she got. I think she's really out of Vegas. Talked to her earlier today. So I was thinking, the thing I love about adversity, it was like when I got, I'm not going to say purposely, but let's just say all things work together for my good. I don't know about you. All things work together for my good. That's number one. If you do not have that disposition, you fucked in this environment. Everybody freaks the fuck out when bad shit happens. When you get it's wild, I guess, because people look at math or they look at numbers and they think that situations have more weight because there's more zeros behind it. It takes the same amount of energy to make $1 million as it does to make 100. The only difference is, like one of my favorite movies, Ghost in the Darkness. Ghost in the Darkness is interesting because it has nothing to do with ghosts. It has to do with lions. And these lions got together and was killing everybody. And the guy told them, can you handle your fear? So when you are in an adverse situation, you can't think because it restricts. The way that the system works is to make sure that you have tunnel vision. The reason I'll tell you guys that the reason the group fell apart, and when I say fell apart, I mean that people stopped participating because their life got harder. They drained the swamp. And the girl that I grew up with, like I said, was technically my first girlfriend. Her name is Jamie. And, she's been doing this for a long time. I remember after my first marriage broke up, I bumped into her when I was at my sister Linda's house. And I went over to her house, and I was like, damn, she was living really, really well. And to this day, you can go on Google, Facebook, and you can see her. Same thing with Veronica Smith. And what set them apart was what they were doing with one of the three initiatives that I want to talk to everybody about, which is very important. Now you can't get money from people. You have to get money from the government. You have to get money from people who print the money. Now, I've always known this, but I never needed it. But I've always had it in my back pocket. Because I remember when I was homeless, I went to the veterans, VA. They were not allowed. Like, I don't know if you guys know, there's a program called VASP, VASP. Most people don't even know about it. No veteran can have their home foreclosed on. You didn't have to make your payment. Now, I would never tell you. I just got off the phone with a bank this morning because I already know I have to verify. I have a phone call with another. Remember I told you guys about the letter I got in the mail that looked like junk mail, and I was going to throw it away, but something said open it, and I opened it and I showed it to the wife. We called the people, so we got a meeting with them here in about an hour. There are three things that you need to understand moving forward, which is what I'm going to be doing in 2025, and I want to invite you to join me. Again, this is not like all of my stuff. It's not for scary. I always use the word Christian, but it's for everybody. Because I talk about Christians because I used to be one. So most people don't think when shit hits the fan. The brain, because remember, this is how the brain works. We already talked about the biology behind it. So I don't even try to explain stuff to people who can't get it. That's why remember, this is the 10th time that I've done this. This is number 11, really. When I started in 1999. When I get to this level, remember, I usually go alone at this point. My first mentor, again, all my 3 mentors I have in my book, The Ultimate Secret of Being Rich. And so Nick just lost his house in Rio Doso, New Mexico, like a week or 2 weeks ago. Multi-millionaire. He was happy. The house was old, according to him. He wanted to rebuild it. Now he get an insurance check. I cannot express to you the problem I have with most black people, Christians specifically, all people for that matter. We can't think when shit hits the fan. Now, I thank God for growing up the way that I did, because it forced me to think outside of the box. When I was in Richmond, walking the streets by myself, getting my ass whooped because they just didn't like me, because I wasn't from Richmond. I was from a little country town. I was a country bumpkin. I grew up in a town called Forsyth, Texas, 425 people. I didn't ask for none of this, man. I just had to figure it the fuck out. Most Negroes can't think. Now, remember, this is by design. We already talked about the reason why you can't think. Not you personally, though. People you know. We know that number one reason you can't think is because of what I call there's no love of labor. I haven't met anybody that loves their labor. Number 2, education. Our education system teaches you how to test and score high on a test. The education system teaches you how by Rockefeller. We already looked it up. Well, I did. How to be a worker and how to thinker. So most people do not think to enrich themselves. They think to employ themselves. That's a whole other place for another time. Number 3 is religion. So we know that math, music, and language are these 3. We also know that money, power, and respect. Money is labor. Power is education. Respect is religion. That's why we respect ministers. Look at the Pope. The Pope can go anywhere. People will get on their knees and kiss his ring finger. Are you serious? If you see your reverend, your doctor, and your bishop, why do we respect T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen, any preacher? Why? It's called terms of endearment. I tell you what I learned at the FPO, or the Federal Police Academy, same thing that they teach at the CIA, which is the acronym that I gave you called RICE, RICE. Everybody's brain is under what they call the blue light special, DARPA. So there's nobody, myself included. That's how I know. You got V2K, you got voice to skull technology. Your brain has been dumbed down. You can't think outside of the box unless you do what I do. I had to learn the hard way because there wasn't a system in place, so I developed my own. So Clutternomics is the household management of the soul. It forces you to do what? Fact check your thought. How come? Well, like I told everybody, it's called the arc of Veil. I got $100,000, like I tell everybody, to go to Google, type in Mount Hermon, go to images, and look at that building that's called Quasi-Antar on top of Mount Hermon. That's a UN base. Now, I got $100,000. You can explain to me what that base, what that building does on top of Mount Hermon, where the 200 fallen angels fell. Now, what does this have to do with investments? You can't get out from underneath that arc. In other words, you can't think creatively because your brain is on lockdown. That's why we have extreme low frequencies. They purposely select frequencies that interfere with your brain's ability to think. So the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's frequency, is on the same frequency as your brain, along with all of the DARPA defense technology. Why would they do that? Why would they? You can select any frequency to create your device. They purposely select frequencies. Even COVID, everything is done to affect the reticular activating system, the neocortex and the paleocortex, which are the 3 parts of the brain. So it's difficult to think outside of the box. Have anybody read Project 2025, written years ago? How they know Donald Trump was going to be president? Now, if you haven't read Project 2025, I highly recommend that you read it. It's the Republicans' agenda for you. That's why, remember, if you either beat them or join them. People, man, this is wild. Most black people vote Democrat. I'm trying to, I don't understand. Republicans are business. Republicans are all about money, power, and respect. Pretty much every black person I know is all about religion because they're preparing for hell or heaven, not knowing what that does to the reticular activating system or the brain. We talked about the dopamine reward system. We talk about dopamine, epinephrine, and adrenaline. I have biology, so I don't do what most black folks do. I learned the hard way. I'm not for, I'm not against. I just do shit to pay my light bill on time. So I don't know what other people do. I don't know what y'all do. All I know is you got to pay your light bill on time. That's all I know. So they draining the swamp. I don't know if y'all know what's going on. Y'all see what's happening in Idaho? They cut the water off to the farmers. Have y'all seen what happened to every major meat factory? They burned it to the ground. So there's no pork, there's no chickens, and there's no cows. They are creating what's coming. Most black people I know are still going, they don't know shit about what's happening in the real world. They're just talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. I don't like either one of them, motherfuckers. What's the point? Man, God has been telling you, man. It's in all of the movies. You claim, not you personally, but, y'all claim to be Christians. Y'all claim to know God, but you don't hear from God. Not you personally. Not you personally. People you know. So I get downloads every day. What I'm talking to you today is what they call a spiritual download. Now, you can't tell that to a Christian because they don't know what it is. It's got TD Jakes, $3 $. That blocks your ability to think outside the box. They call it Project Bluebeam. Now, I can understand if you can tell me what astrocarta is that's developed by King Charles, which all of this stuff we're going to be talking about in the agenda. Now, you should be asking me the billion-dollar question. So what's deep this has to do with making money, paying my light bill on time. So I noticed that myself and everybody in the group, discretionary income, like, gone. Nobody can pay. How come? I bought a can of chili, or my daughter did, my bonus daughter. It was $3.25 for one single can, small can of Wolf brand chili, which ain't even chili. It's probably dog meat. As I opened it and looked at it, I couldn't even eat it. I was going to put it on top of my burrito. That was my, nothing for enough time. What's the point? $3.25 for a little 8-ounce can. Have y'all seen the prices in Walmart or the store when you go shopping? You know what I'm paying on my house note? Most people are stressed out. So what you got to do is the same thing I've been doing all my life. Join the system. I ain't say you got to like it. I ain't say you got to love it. You got to vote for it. You got to pray for it. You got to hang out with it. Nothing. All I'm saying is I just watch. I know that the dominant culture ain't going to pass a law that's going to affect the dominant culture. I don't know why that is so difficult. Like, people talk to me about non-issues. Man, I don't know about you, but I have a family. I have children. I have grandchildren. I got shit to do. I don't have time, man, to go sit in nobody's church and listen to somebody talk about shit that doesn't change and doesn't affect and ain't in the real world. You can't quote scriptures to me, man. I know more scriptures than anybody I've met. I can quote scriptures with anybody. Can nobody out religion me? I was raised in that shit. So people talk to me about stuff. I know because look at their lives. They stressed out. How do you solve problems, man? That's all I want to know. If you got high blood pressure, how do you get rid of it? Because I don't got it. I can't even go. We get ready to get on a car right now to drive on vacation. We want to go on a cruise. We can't go on a cruise because 5 members of my wife's family, their kidneys is blown out. Dialysis. But everybody loves Jesus. We'll turn over every chair every Sunday. Now, again, I'm just a country boy from Georgia, Texas. But I need one of you high vibrational mother religious people to tell me why y'all got all these problems if you serve the same God I serve. I'm just trying to figure that out. Okay, enough of that. Number one, there's a program out by the government called VASP. You're in a house, you got any problem, they will pay your note. I know, but they're doing it for me. Number one. There is a program out for any problem that you got. So what I'm going to start doing is making sure that everybody that's a part of what I'm doing in Agenda 25 is connected with me, or you do this shit yourself. So you can join me or you can do it yourself. Remember, that's what I do. I got it done for you, or you do it for yourself. I was doing it since 1995 with all the online stuff. Now nobody has money or time or energy to pay for this stuff. So what do? You go to the people who make the money. So my childhood friend I was telling you about, she doesn't get a check from the people that she has in her, I'm going to use the word, senior daycare. So number one, I got a house. I just been talking with the city of San Antonio. Kids are gone. They're going to pay me $3,000 for every senior that I put in my home. We got 6 bedrooms in this house, technically, if you count my office as a bedroom. That's just my house. What if we bought houses around the country? Pretty much every state, almost every state, have that same program. They have the same program for in-home senior daycare. You can do it today. If you got extra house, you got a house, you got extra rooms in your house, you should look at it. I got all the information. We're going to be breaking this down in the investment club that I'm starting. I started an investment club with every group that I've been doing since 1999. And at the end of the day, the only person that's usually in the investment club is me, myself, and I, which is how I've been making my money since 1999. Last time I had a full-time job. So I've been doing this since 1999. What do? I know that I create a feeling, and the feeling creates the feel. So I know that when I talk to most people, they don't feel what I feel. I feel love, joy, peace, gentleness. So that when my daughter Samora transitioned, I didn't feel what Sade and Sheree, what my kids felt. When my biological father passed, I didn't feel what a lot of my family members felt. Because as I said, if you understand the stuff that I talk about every day, your insight is determined by your right. If you have no right, no knowledge of your God-given rights, then you have no insight. No right, no sight. So I know my rights. It was given to me by God, not by man. So everybody's going to get old. But seniors can't pay. So one of my wife's family members works in a senior home. So I went over there, talked to the owner of the senior home. Everybody on this call, we can start our senior daycare in every city. That's what Sister Veronica Smith does. That's where I got it from. She was a member in the group 10 years ago. When I met her, she was just starting. She was in Vegas. Around about the same time I met Dr. Martinette. You guys remember when I flew to Vegas? We did that seminar in Vegas. You guys know when I flew out to Cali? They met with them black millionaires I was telling you about. Billionaires now. They all doing this. They don't get money from people. They get money from the government. So what if you know somebody that's a senior? So when your mother and father becomes a senior, instead of putting them in a senior daycare, you could take care of them yourself, and the government will pay you to take care of your own family members. We're not going to even get into what I was doing way back in, I was in New Mexico when my first wife's daughter was in the system. We flew to New Mexico, sat down at the table with a bunch of psychs. I remember you guys I told them? They said that this child was unredeemable. She was in a foster care. She was in a home. She was actually in a state mental institution. So we signed the papers, brought her back to San Antonio. And guess what? We got a check. Now, we never got a check. Our biological father got it. But we wasn't tripping. We didn't take her into our home for the check. We took her into the home because she was a family member on my wife's side, our ex-wife, who was in a mental institution at 11 and 12 years old. No child should be raised like that I know. And if I'm in a position to do something about it, I'm going to do something. So that's what we did. I had no idea back then that you get a check if you do that. But the same thing happens today. If I take in, I know a guy right now who's getting $5,000 per child. He has 5 kids. Guys with the math. $5,000. Now, he only takes in severe kids that are handicapped that's in the system. Most of them are in wheelchairs. You know what he does all day? All he does, he has a van paid for by the government. He gets a check, $5,000 per child, $25,000 a month for each child. You know what he do? All he does is drive them around to their appointments. He takes them to the dentist. He takes them over to physical therapy. He just drives them around. How did he get into it? He has a disabled son. He figured, shit, I'm driving my own son around anyway. I might as well get paid to drive somebody else's son around that somebody gave up because they was like, shit, I don't want to do it. It's wild to me that, but how does this happen? The ability to think as a creator, not as a worker. So the first thing that we have to do, or the first thing I'm doing, is I know that the swamp, in other words, these fools are drying up your income. They're taking away your food. They're taking away your water rights. They want to make it hard for you to exist and live unless you are a part of their system without being a part of the system. It's called being in 99. I've been doing this since 1999. So according to the IRS, I'm an independent contractor. As an independent contractor, guess what? I don't fall underneath none of the government restrictions because I'm not licensed and certified by the government. So therefore, they're like in real estate. I could not have done what I did in real estate back in the 80s if I was a licensed real estate agent. And so the first thing is, again, just like what Sister Veronica Smith is doing, everybody on this call should be doing either with me in my new group or do this shit yourself. Number one, senior daycare. If you got a house like me and you got 6 bedrooms in your house like me and you sitting in our big ass house, kids, and I'm like, Alec leaves, we got to drop his ass off in June or July to college. So what we're going to do with all these rooms? Bam, that's number one. Number two, remember, none of this can happen to you unless you can think for you. Because everything I'm telling you, your brain's going to tell you, nah, I don't want to do this. I already know, been there, done that. So number two is veteran care. Now, I'm a veteran. So I already told you about the VASP, the VASP. If you're a veteran, you should get the VASP. You're like me. I was homeless 8 times. 4 of those 8 times, courtesy of the United States government. I got all my bills paid. I got me an apartment. They paid all my stuff for 3 months. So now, if you're in a position, you can bring the program that I'm going to be sharing with the group and the privates. Again, this is just general information. This is for the members of the new group that starts on July the 15th. Thank everybody for joining. We pop off again. We already started, but we're going to go officially. Now, the investment club is additional on with an additional investment from the $125 a month for the classes. Now, you already know all the classes we're talking about or stuff like I just mentioned, especially dealing with DARPA, dealing with, the new program that came out by Great Britain, the Carter, all that stuff we're going to be breaking down. On the investment side, you still have to live. And since people don't have money, you got to get the money from the government. So number one is the senior care. Everybody should be doing it. Number two is the veteran care. You get $3,000 a month if you take in a veteran. This is for people that are like me. If you got a big ass house, or if you got a house, or if you really, really smart, which is what I'm doing. I got the next, what time is it? Ooh, I'm getting close to 5. Anyway, I got a meeting coming up with some investors. So what we're doing is we're actually purchasing homes, and not only in Texas, but in other states. And so what we're going to be doing is we're buying home, and then number one, which is another offshoot of the veteran, is the Section 8. So you may not remember, when I was in New Mexico, when I was buying those mobile homes that was beat up and run down for $3,000 and $5,000. And then I was rehabbing them and selling them for $30,000. I wouldn't live in them. But every Native American, when I was there, remember that shit, I'm talking 20 years ago. When I was making $30,000 a month, 20 years ago. I talk to people every day. Now, granted, I have an advantage because I'm a 33. I'm born in September, and my brain, by the grace and mercy of God, since I was a kid, and I used to get beat for what I'm getting paid for. I was always inquisitive. You ask my brothers and sisters, I was always in trouble when I was a kid. Now I get paid because I think outside the box. I thank God for problems because the problems make me think. So what happened? Okay, the group that we was in, everybody's income dried up. There was no fault to nobody. So nobody's in position to pay me for my products and my services and my information. Nobody has the money. So I got to go to the government. This is what I always do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So that way you can do this for yourself. Or you can join me and my homies. So what we're doing is, we understand that because we're all veterans, most of us. And a lot of us are what the government calls a senior. Remember, I don't believe in age. I don't believe in candle magic. I know that every organ in my body regenerates itself every 7 years at the latest, most of it. So you don't age. You only age because you believe you're supposed to age. So I don't believe that, so I use reverse engineering. That's why I wrote a book on it. So most men I meet that are my age look way older than me because they believe they're supposed to age. So I don't believe in retirement. Because remember, number one, that separates me from everybody else that I know. I don't know nobody else that understands that you're not supposed to work. I don't know nobody else that I've met in my 60-plus years on this planet who understands the difference between work and labor. You know, I've been teaching it. It's the brain can't grasp it because, again, it's not part of our narrative. We're not exposed to that energy. See, if you don't have any value, how do you feel? Because then we've got to define value. So your value comes from your ability to contribute. So one of the things that when I talk to people, especially young people, they're trying to fit into the social fabric. We get our self-worth, especially for men, because men, we're providers. We're supposed to. So if a man can't, how do I know? Because this is how I felt in my first marriage. I had a wife and 5 kids, and I felt like garbage. So my first wife couldn't understand why I was cheating. Women think men cheat for a poo nanny. Men cheat for worse value. If a man goes home and he feels like garbage in his own house because he can't provide, ladies, men cheating ain't got shit to do with you. Every woman I talk to. But what can I do? What did I do wrong? Your man ain't cheating because, your titties ain't big enough. He cheating because he ain't got no worth and no value. He got to go find somebody who makes him feel. The universe works on feelings. That's why if you catch feelings, you fuck. So the first thing happens when your money dries up is what you do. You get afraid. You try to figure shit out instead of thinking. We are not trained to think. We're trained to work. So the first thing people do when they need more money is they do what? They get another job. I used to do the same thing. That's how I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I thank God that he took me through the experience of everything that I teach before he gave me the knowledge. Most niggas I talk to, they got knowledge. They have no experience. Man, you ain't been where I've been, bro. Not you personally, people you know. So the program works because I use the program. I've done these 3 things. I prefer to offer a product, service, and information that benefits other people. But I notice what the government does is they always dry up the swamp. They always, and then it affects the lowest person on the totem pole the most, which is usually black people. So now labor I'm watching these houses coming up in my neighborhood. I have not seen one black person on a roof. All the plumbers, all the electricians, all the roofers, everybody's Hispanic or Mexican. Depending on who you talk to. Is that bad or is it good? Nope. It's neither one. It just is. Negroes talk to me about morality. Man, you better talk to me about polarity. With the inability for you to adjust and to change, you're stuck in religion, which is a belief system. Religion is not what you think. Religion means that you are possessed by knowledge. So the number one book that we're going to be breaking down starting on July the 15th, so I can expose you to you, is that you're possessed by a demon called knowledge. I know because I was possessed by the same demon. I got more knowledge than anybody I've ever met. I can talk to somebody in the White House. I can talk to a homeless person. But the world that we live in, Jesus came that you may have life, not knowledge. What was the problem in the garden? They ate from the tree of knowledge. Jesus did not give us knowledge. What did he give us? Life. What is life? Fucking experiences. That's why I live fast. I get as many experiences while most people I know sitting on the porch watching TV. I'm out, feet or boot on the ground, failing. That's the only way you learn. I ain't afraid to fail. I've lost more money than most Negroes have made in their fucking life. It is what it is. So if you don't understand money, power, and respect, in 2025, God have mercy on your soul. Because money, power, and respect is the ability to think outside the box. But due to Project Bluebeam and Blue Light Technology and the WBAN wide band area network, they are piping frequency into your organs. They are creating inflammation in your body. They are causing with frequencies. Man, it's a frequency war. Just read all my books or just do the research yourself. So the only way to get out of the frequencies is to establish peace of mind. So you got to wake up every day being thankful, being grateful. Your mind must be full of favors that God has already done for you. That means to be well off mentally, to act well off mentally, to do something that is pleasant and agreeable with your soul. So no, I don't work where I am not elevated. I don't hang out with people that don't see my worth and my value. I do these free shows for you, so that way you can understand that work and life has to balance. That your schooling and your education did not give you the ability to think independently and to think creatively. You are taught to follow the rules. You're not taught to think outside of the box and to think independently. None of us were. That's the public education system. And then number three, we were given a system that we were told not to question. When you was born, you were taught to be passive, acceptive, not passive, aggressive. I can tell because right now, if a law is passed, you will abide by it. Me, I'm going to question it. When they came out with COVID, they came out with the jab. I'm going to talk to my son who took the jab. But he's a graduate from UT Austin. Very educated. Out of all my kids, man, Kennedy's the smartest I know. Number one in his class in math and science. But he's a system. He thinks according to the system. Because he was educated in that system. It's not right, and it's not wrong. He's a grown-ass man now. I respect his decision to take the jab. I'm just not taking it. So he presented the facts for the jab, and I presented the facts against the jab. And then we agreed to disagree. We still love each other. He's still my son. I'm still his father. That's how life should be. Just because we disagree doesn't mean that we can't work together. But for some reason or another, especially with black folks, that's an issue. So what I'm presenting to everybody on this call, senior care veteran care, affordable housing. We all should be buying houses and renting them out to people who are on Section 8. So our check comes from the government, not from the person living in the house. That's what I'm doing. And I'm looking to partner with people who have the ability to think outside of the box. I cannot connect with people who operate in fear. But the reason why the last group fell apart. When I say fell apart, what does that mean? Remember, there's layers to this game. You start at the bottom and you go higher and you go higher. But at the highest level of the game, what's up there? God. Okay, what is God? The standard. That's the standard. Now, you may not know what that means. That's why I wrote a book on it. If anybody don't have my book, The Standard, hey, email me. I can send it to you today for free. See, at the standard, that's when the Word of God meets universal spiritual law. They call it Gov't. God Almighty Grand Unification Theorem. It's not a theory. So there's no such thing as gravity. That's another thing for another time. But what's the point? It's what God and science meet. Because most people think God and science doesn't meet, because that's what they told me when I started. Now, everything I'm talking about is biologically proven. So hydrogen, you look at this guy, his name was Professor Arthur Stanley from Cambridge University. He won the Nobel Peace Prize along with a guy by the name of Jean-Baptiste Piron. And this is way back where they solved the grand unification theory. They call it singular equation. Now, I'm not going to get into the physics of it and the science of it, but they call it absolute infinity of large space of intelligence. So that's what your boy in Great Britain, who came out with this is wild, where all the 1%ers are going to what they call the other realm, which is this is also we're going to be breaking down that all of the, billionaires are doing. So all I do is I just monitor, hang out with the 1%. Whatever they do, I research why are they doing it. So this Astra, A-S-T-R-A, Carta, C-A-R-T-A, it's based upon an 8-pointed star, but the 8-pointed star is the star of Ishtar, or the star of Inanna, which is a Mesopotamian symbol of ancient Sumerian god. It's called Inanna. Now, for me and you, we're Christians. We don't know what the fuck that means. We have no idea. We've seen a 5-pointed and a 6-pointed star. I don't know no nigga who know what an 8-pointed star means. So Lucifer is a Latin term that means morning star. Well, I thought Jesus was the morning star. Both of those terms relate to the planet Venus, which is a Greek name, a Greek word that means light bringer, which is an element on your periodic table called phosphorus, which is false Horus or dawn bringer. So we got the light bringer, we got the dawn bringer. So that's what they're bringing in 2025. So while you're out shopping and doing whatever, we have no idea what's coming. Even though Trump and his buddies telling you inside of the document that they publish for free on the internet right now called Project 2025. They just overturned the Chevron document. I know no nigga who know what that means. Zero. The Supreme Court just overturned the Chevron doctrine, a document. Now, when I say Chevron, you probably think about the gas company Chevron, right? No, that's not what, that has nothing to do with it. The United States Supreme Court on Friday overturned the Chevron document that gave, let's use the term, it's called the Administrative Procedure Act, APA. Now remember, what is this? All of this is a demon. Both of them is a demon. The English word genius. But what is a genius? Anybody that scores a high Q above, like, say, 120. But the word genius means accompanied by a tutelary demon. You ever notice how all these guys that build these quantum computers, they're all mathematicians and stuff? How do they get this knowledge? What do they know? Same where I get my knowledge from. How do I write 1,000 books? How do I do, you know what auto writing is? I done all that stuff. That means that you are accompanied by a tutelary demon. But if you're a Christian, a demon is a bad term. If you're not a Christian, then you know that a demon simply means a ruling disposition. It could be good, it could be bad. Meaning, it could violate laws, or it could assist you with the advancement of moving forward, just like with Tesla. It simply means that you're getting your knowledge, but you don't have no experience. So the difference between a moral, quote unquote, what we call a crest. Remember, Jesus wasn't a Christian, he was a Christian. So when you're a Christian, you become a weapon of God. You're weaponized by your experiences. You're not weaponized by your knowledge. The knowledge comes to verify the experience. The experience doesn't verify the knowledge. So God always takes you to the experience. So I know what you're called to do by what you've been through. I know Christian knows that. That's why I try to tell them. So when Christians talk to me about they've been called by God, really, I ask them, what is your experiences? So if you're called by God to be a substance abuse counselor, because I was counseling a person, they're a substance abuse counselor. And they don't drink alcohol. They've never drunk alcohol. Now, I'm pausing so that way it registers. It's like when I work with homeless veterans. And I asked the homeless veterans, hey, the little girl who just graduated with cum laude from a college in social work. And the city council members, now remember, I was on TV. I still got the video. They interviewed me on the news here in San Antonio. When I was working for Haven for Hope. None of the veterans would talk to none of the counselors that they had. How come? They all had degrees, but none of them were veterans. Now, I'm paused so that you can understand what's happening. So what are you doing for a living? It probably has nothing to do with your life experiences. The biggest mistake that most people make is there's no love in their labor. So you can connect. You don't have God's favor if there is no love in your labor. God is love. God is not a Christian. Christian is a man-made term. In Titus 3, that means dwarf idiot. Look it up. So I'm not a Christian. Now, you can tell me whatever. I just go by what works. What turns off my dopamine reward centers and what turns it on? What activates my reticular activating system? What creates tunnel vision? What limits my ability to think creatively and come up with solutions when I encounter problems? I encountered a problem. I was living my dream. I was rock and rolling. Life was doing great. And then about a year ago, 8 months ago, everybody in the group stopped making payments. Everybody on this call was in the group. Y'all know it. Y'all stopped paying me. How come? Well, y'all stopped getting paid. Or something changed in your life. Okay, so what did you do next? Most people, they went and got another job. Most people, you just try to reduce your income. Some of you guys are still trying to figure it the fuck out. So when your income stops, when you get a disease, like I tell you guys, I have that abscess in my tooth. My cheek was swollen. My left nostril, underneath there was a big old bump. So what did? I got a download from Source through my boy Richie Rich. Brother Richard heard me talking about it. Hey, Doc, don't you got that MMS, bro? But same thing that Trump got that y'all believe is what they told y'all. You can't take that shit because it's bleach. I don't give a fuck if it's bleach or not. Does it solve problems? Well, I looked on the bottom of bleach. You know what it says on the back of the bottle of bleach? Of Clorox? Kills 99.999% of all viruses and bacteria and everything. But you can't drink industrial liquid bleach, but you can drink MMS. So, I started flossing. I bought me a water pick, put my MMS in there, Zoom, the shit's gone. That dude, 100%. I do that in every area of my life because I know how to think outside of the box by the grace and mercy of God, because I have life experiences where I went through a lot of problems. I couldn't call my mama. I couldn't call my daddy. I ain't had no rich uncles. Nobody was there. I called my brother Glenn when Bruce was whooping my ass. I said, bro, these dudes is older than me, man. They're bigger than me, and there's 3 of them. I remember them niggas because they used to whoop my ass every day. My brother told me, bro, man, I wish I was there for you, dog, but I figure it the fuck out. That's what I've been doing since 13, figuring it the fuck out. Now, hopefully you grew up in an environment with a silver spoon with rich mamas and rich daddies, so you don't have to do that. I'm praying for you. Hopefully that's your life experience. But if it ain't, you need to hook up with a Negro, hook up with me or a Negro like me that teach your ass how to think outside the box. On the fly. So when something pops up, you don't get scared. You don't call T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar. You don't go home and pray about it. You whoop ass and take names. Period. So this is what I'm doing in July 15th. It ain't for new believers. It ain't for most people that was part of the old group. You have to be able to think outside of the box, because what we're doing is flying the total opposite direction. We just like firefighters. Because when a fire breaks out, everybody runs to people who are trained to put out fires. So I'm only looking for people who are trained to put out fires. Because if you got fear, you're gonna fuck it up for everybody else. One bad apple, that's all it takes. I ain't calling nobody no bad apple. Because there ain't no bad apples. From the perspective of what? You're on the level of your perception. And there are no bad levels. You get to live where you want to live. I'm talking to people who just want to live. I don't know about you. I like my nice house. I like driving nice cars. I like eating nice food. I like doing nice things. So the dominant culture is telling me we want to reduce the number of people that can experience nice things. Okay, I'm not going to be one of those people. So they say, okay, we're going to kill all the farmers. Okay, I'm going to buy my land and grow my own shit. They passing a law where some states you can't even grow food. It's illegal to have a home garden. No problem. I know hydroponics. My next investment, buy me some land, big ass, same thing that Mike Tyson did in fucking Colorado. Except in a big ass building, he's growing weed. So when the government flies over with their little, looking for shit, they can't see it. Here's the point. I don't care what they do. Greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. No matter what, there's always a solution. I've been young and now I'm old. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed begging bread. God always has a ram in the bush. You ain't got to sacrifice nobody. You ain't got to throw nobody under the bus. There's no need to panic. I don't care what happens. There's always an arc for God's elect, God's people. You have to think like God. God only recognizes God. God only recognizes himself. You must be all-knowing, all-power, all-present, all-loving, and all-simple. Those are the 5 omnis of the standard. So when you think, you have to know. The only way to grow is for you to have experience and what we call knowledge. So in conclusion, on July the 15th, we start the new classes. We had the sale yesterday, that's gone. So now we're just back to it's 125 is peanuts. But $125 a month may be a lot of money for some folk. Understand? If you can afford it, jump in. If not, assalamu alaikum, salaikum salam. We'll see you when we see you. Next thing is the 2025 investment club. Depending on the number of participants, whether it's 1 or 100,000. I'm going to teach you to do this yourself. Or you can do it with me and the people that I have in my investment club. Now, there's only 2 people, and both of them are millionaires, besides myself. And right now, all we're doing is we're looking at different properties. But the first thing that I want to do is purchase a property in Las Vegas. Also purchase a property in If there is anybody on this call that a member or was a member of any of my groups, and you are in a financial situation, text me or email me and let me know, so that way I can do everything in my power to assist you, especially in the housing area. Because then I'm going to be looking at purchasing the property in your state to assist you, and especially if you have a family, especially if you're a veteran, especially if you're a senior. Because the government have programs. So number one, I'm just going to tell you about the program. You do the shit yourself. I've been doing this since 1999. There is no problems except the inability to connect with God. If you are in a relationship with God, you should already know this. Do you honestly think God has brought you this far to leave you? That's why I don't hang out with Christians. Christians panic when they can't see the forest for the trees. You should be like Daniel in the lion's den. You should be like the three Hebrew boys. You should be like Jonah when in the belly of the whale. When shit hits the fan, you should not panic. You already know if God be for you, who can be against you? You have the greatest weapon, which is your ability to think like God. You're a generator, an operator, and a director. So the first thing is manage your fear. Because God's not giving you a spirit of fear. He gave you a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. That's money, power, and respect. Every day you should carry yourself with money, power, and respect. It ain't got nothing to do with your bank account, nothing to do with your head. It has to do with your disposition, your personal, private, productive relationship with God. If you don't feel the presence of an all-knowing, all-present, all-powerful, all-simple, all-benevolent, and loving frequency, wave, or vibration, whatever label you want to put on it, then you need to check your relationship with God. Because God is a vibration. He's a frequency. He's a wave. It's a vibe. It's the ability for you to feel. Sure, you're going to get punched in the gut and you're going to get knocked down. Every time a problem shows up, that is God telling you it's time for you to go to the next level. That's how God communicates, by the way. God sends you a problem so that way you can prove to yourself that you have the ability to solve that problem. That's it. All problems is just God knocking on your heart, telling you, hey, let's go to the next level. So we can either do like my childhood friend I was telling you guys about. One day, and she does traditional senior care. In this, with the people on this call, we can do this today. Everybody can throw in $1,000. We can go buy a building. We don't got to do it. We hire somebody to manage it. Like we can buy an apartment building today. We ain't got to do it. We hire a property manager. Somebody in the group may be a property manager. So we got a property manager in the group. We just buy the apartment complex in that state. And then we do what? We rent it out to Section 8. Why? The money doesn't come from the people. It comes from the government. So I need you to stop thinking about selling products and service information to people because nobody got no money. And the people who do got money, they don't know what to do with it. Most. So you can't get money from people. You have to get money from the people who print it. So the government is printing money, let's take it. And there's 3 programs that I personally know and getting into that allows me to tap into that. Speaking of which, I got to get on another phone call. Man, I love y'all. Wish you guys later on tonight. God bless.